I'm Denise Woods, and it is an honor to be in community with Dr. Raye Mitchell and Charly Palmer. We are celebrating the enormity of Dr. Raye's accomplishments, and I want to speak to not only her written accomplishments, but her vocal accomplishments. I met this woman, phenom of a woman, phenom of a Black woman, years ago. But we really had the pleasure of getting to know each other recently. I became her voice coach. And when I heard her, I thought, I don't know why she needs a voice coach. And then when she started revealing who she was and her backstory and her history, and when I say history, I don't mean accolades and accomplishments. I mean her story, her story. It was so palpable and so rich that I felt her voice didn't match the depth of her story. And that's what we worked on. We worked on making her audio representation match her physical presence. When she comes into a room, she takes space in a very quiet way, but her presence is formidable. And I wanted her voice to match that. And so that was the first session. I allowed her to speak candidly, and I shared very candidly, because that's what you do when you're in Dr. Raye's presence. You cannot come short of your authentic self. And because when she gives, she encourages you to give. And I gave her my notes. And by the second session, this woman had transformed her voice unlike anyone I had ever seen or had ever taught or had ever been in the presence of. It was absolutely phenomenal. I honor you this Women's History Month, not just because you've accomplished so much, but because you stand on some pretty firm shoulders and you honor those shoulders. And I am just honored to be a part of the alchemy and the community that have made you who you are.
I'm just going to sort of hold my whole applause till the end, but I will.
That was beautiful. Let me step in here. I wanted to approach this from the standpoint of being as authentic and unscripted as possible. But my concern was to miss out on something that's very significant and who I know, and Raye Mitchell. And so I do have little bullet points that I want to remind myself of, but from the most part, it's just those bullet points. Because what I want to say about Raye Mitchell is you may know her as the attorney or the teacher or the activist or the actress. You may know her as the writer or the producer or the entrepreneur, but I know her as the dreamer. And when I say dreamer, it's that she's not only a dreamer, but she's a dream maker. Like she's the kind of person that you want at the table cheering for you and being there for you because she's very proactive. She is brilliant. She has tenacity and determination. She is creative. She is passionate and committed to the Black community. And I would go as far as to say even more committed to Black girls' joy. And that's one of the things I know about her. But what is also important to me is she exemplifies the concept of the American dream. It's not a rags to riches. It is not making a way out of no way. She is very much about making space and clearing space for people of color to be present in those rooms to show their excellence. And so this is who I know. And so when I think about presenting this award, I am honored to have been asked, first of all, because I know all the wonderful people that she knows. But Raye, I don't want to use, but I'm going to use a pun and say that you are a ray of hope. You're a ray of power. You are a ray of sun, light in a space that is rather dark right now. You lift us. And so for me, it's very much an honor to be here and be present to present this award to you, my sister, and my dear friend.
So one thing I learned from Denise is breathe. The second thing I've learned from Charly is to find that creative voice in a way that is not expected. So what I want to do now in accepting this award, as I fight back the tears and not mess up my makeup, okay, I'm just going to be honest, is that I have to first thank the BookFest, because when the BookFest was just a germ of an idea for the founders, Desiree and Dave, they entrusted me with just sharing the concept. And being who I am, my first instinct says, this is big. They didn't require me to say that, but what I love on this fabulous journey is the joy of seeing joy in other people capture their stories. And so the very first thing I said to Desiree and Dave, you've got to trademark this. You've got to own this, not as the lawyer, but as somebody who saw that big dream. I just felt it. And here we sit today, where I am delighted to be part of just a fraction of this huge dream. And so we're here celebrating life and joyfulness. We're here, whether it's Women's History Month, which to me, Women's History Month actually means every month. There's no designated month. So I am here because I stand, as Denise has acknowledged, on the shoulders of 3 brilliant women who gave everything for me to have a chance to be here. And by that story, I mean, I call them my 3 queens: my grandmother, my mother, and my aunt. They grew up in the most difficult of times. They had nothing. And what they did have was taken from them by force. And yet they always found a way to bring others into the community. When my grandmother's church, which she founded and turned into a school, was burnt down by people who hate, she rebuilt that church. She rebuilt that school. And when they came back a second time and burnt it down, she did not give up. She just went to a different space. And so this energy that I have, this gusto, this nerve to want to dream big, is because they gave everything to me. Not something, everything. And so my grandma would be 135 years old this month. My mother, my grandmother, and my aunt have all passed on. But what they left me with was a gift of a lifetime. And it's that gift that they left me, yes, the talent, yes, the gusto, but what they left me is what we're celebrating right here with the BookFest, is which for everybody that has a story to tell, and we all have a story to tell, we have to become the storytellers that not only tell our own stories, but we help everybody tell their story. But Denise really helped me with transforming my voice from just being functional to one that commanded my attention, and therefore the attention of my audience. As a speaker, as an actor, as a presenter. Charly represents my very first book effort. It was a little effort, but it was a big deal because he trusted me with his storyline. And now 20 something years later, I'm going to embark upon trying to revisit that storyline, revisit how he touched me. Because we're here today, as I wrap this up, to accept this beautiful honor of being recognized by the Book Fest, which is to expand our community of storytellers. As an artist, as a voice artist, and as me, who likes to dabble in all the things that helps me tell my story, we're here collectively to say thank you to the Book Fest. And so I want to say thank you to the Book Fest. I want to say thank you to the Book Fest audience. And I want to say thank you to Grandmama, Mommy, and my beautiful Aunt Willie Mae. And so with that said, before the tears really flow, I just want to throw it open to my two wonderful friends. And I want to sort of flip the script. And I want to ask just a simple question. Share with me your biggest dream on the next part of your journey. You don't have to say anything that's confidential, but I want to celebrate you because you are as important as this award. You didn't have to show up for me. You didn't have to share those kind words, but it enlivens me. So thank you. Anybody? Nobody?
Please go first.
Charly, shall I?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I have been so blessed. As we all sit here, all three of us can say that. And I too stand on the shoulders of people that came from the Jim Crow South with not just trauma, but with amazing stories of triumph. And my big dream is to be able to house an institute, which I've started, but an institute where people can come, tell stories, and have those stories produced so that people all over the world can see them. Produced in the form of film is what I'm talking about. Plays, stories that reach the masses, stories that would never, ever, ever get told in Hollywood because the Hollywood machine doesn't see the bottom line, or they don't see the financial benefit in a particular story. And I want to honor those stories, those marginalized stories, those stories that when you hear them, when you see them, you go, that's my story. No matter where you are on the planet, it is the story that is the common language and the common themes that we all share, that will ultimately unite us as opposed to divide us.
Thank you. And Charly, I don't want to cut your time, but I know that you have something amazing to share, or will. And I'm going to give that to you so that we can, as they say on the set, wrap it up.
You know what? I can be very brief in that I've been blessed to have the life that I've had and continue to have. But I think that my legacy as a artist, as a writer, is to give that message to young Black children that you are worthy, that you are important, that you are relevant, and that you look at us grown folk and assume that we're different than you are. And that's where the storytelling also becomes very significant or important, is that I am you. And I've come from the same environment. I've learned, I've focused, I've committed. And so if my legacy is the children books that I've been involved with, whether it be the most recent one, the How Sweet the Sound by Kwame Alexander, illustrated by myself, or the one I just finished with Billy Porter called Songbird, Finding Your Voice. It's like letting them know that they are loved. And if I've left anything in this world, it is to encourage them that they are relevant and important.
That's so wonderful. And the part that makes me joyful now is my closing remarks are very simple. Thank you, BookFest. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Charly. Thank you to this wonderful audience of the BookFest, because it's one of my favorite movies is We Will Be Back. We have so much to celebrate in this literary community. We're hoping that we will be invited back to share more of these dreams, because dreams do come to life. Each one of us can prove that, and we will continue to deliver on the promise. Thank you, Mr. BookFest team.